Somebody shut the door. Let's badge in and close the vault. Welcome to the SCIIF International Podcast Trends Week. If you're just sitting there nodding your head like you're listening to Busta Rhymes break your neck record, that's not enough. We need action. Like, subscribe, comment, share, turn up the notifications. You know how we do. Let's go ahead and get it started. Unless you are living under a rock, there's an entire campaign going on in the Middle East. We have waited to report on this because we wanted to be as accurate as we can. We didn't want to just talk about the first impacts. We wanted to talk about the second, third, and fourth effects that have shaken everything on a global scale. It is not just abroad. We need to look at now. It is at home as well. So it's giving off serious gwot kind of vibes. We don't do politics here at the SCIIF, not really. Regardless of our opinions, which we sure have on this campaign, we're just going to drop some basic info, why that matters to service members in uniform, and some simple things that you can do in order to make sure you and your family are at max readiness for the duration. GWATs, we've seen this movie. We read the book. We got a t-shirt. We are back on the scene, and it's time to put that armor back on. LaRae, can you please spin these folks up on what's got the internet in a chokehold?
Yeah. Absolutely, Hype. And like you said, just basic information. So 2 weeks ago, on February 28th, 2026, the United States and Israel launched Operation Epic Fury. In the first 24 hours alone, U.S. forces struck more than 1,000 targets across Iran. It was a full usage of a toolbox with the intent of going after Iran's nuclear program. But this wasn't the first time. This actually started quietly back in June of 2025. Operation Midnight Hammer. And when that didn't resolve the situation, when diplomacy through Oman collapsed, February 28th happened. That's the operational timeline you need to understand. It did not just start 2 weeks ago, people. This is not recent. It has been building for months. And as of this recording, we are 15 days into Operation Epic Fury. Yes, time has moved very fast. So here's what's confirmed so far. 50,000 plus U.S. service members are now directly supporting this operation, and more are expected to follow suit.
000.
Yes, sir. 13 American service members have died as of March 13th, so 1 month as of this past Friday. 140 service members have been wounded, and total cost after 6 days alone, $11.3 billion. Can we just pause on that for a second? The amount of funds...
Where that's coming from? Hey, what? We got to do a show on budgets, man. All right,
we really do.
We have to because we got to untangle that web, because remember, we don't have no money, you know?
Right.
Congress appropriates. Where's this 11 billion coming from?
Where is it coming
11.3?
Confirmed by
In
U.S.
6
leadership
days.
administration. 6 days.
That's a
more
lot,
than
man.
some countries' entire defense budget.
Yeah.
In
That's
6
crazy.
days.
Yep. And there's still
11.3.
Yep, 11.3 billion. There's still more that that Congress has to vote on. There's still more bills coming. And so we'll talk about what that means for your training budget in part 2.
Okay. Like this in general is near and dear to pretty much all our hearts. Well, I mean, outside of Kay, because, Kay is, more newer than the rest of us, but we've all had a part in touch point with CENTCOM and, operations in that theater. It's one of the things that, for the last several years, the entire strategic posture of the U.S. military has been pointed towards the East, the Far East, and has been towards China, towards Russia, and the National Defense Strategy, called it the GPC. And we're not talking about government purchase card, guys. We're talking about great power competition. Threat was Taiwan, right? That was provocations of that. Hey, when is China going to annex and take that over? Is it going to be 2027? Is it going to be 2028, 2026? When is it going to happen? The threat of hypersonics. Hypersonics, if you look at that and some of the capabilities of the Patriot missile system and the THAAD radar and THAAD system, it's hard to intercept hypersonics and things like that. But our peer-to-peer threats, they've invested in that missile technology, and that's at their fingertips. They can use it in order to hurt us. It's going to be peer-to-peer warfare. Carrier killer missiles, right? Like, imagine that's a large way how we project power within the United States is through our carrier fleet. You send out a fleet of carriers. Now we can project power. We can project air power in those regions. Imagine a hypersonic missile taking that out, and that's no longer in play. That's like a queen on the chessboard. And then we're looking at, anti-access and aerial denial weapons, sophisticated air defense, IAS, and things like that. So that's what we're training for, and that's what we were funding. That was everything. All the budget conversations in Congress between the military, that's what we're trying to reorganize our force towards, is a great power competition. If we should end up in a war against a peer-to-peer adversary, how can we posture the modern Air Force to combat that? How can we posture the modern military to combat that? And that's what everything was geared towards. And then February 28th happened, and overnight it pivoted right back to what? To what?
Where we were. Out to the Southwest, out to the CENTCOM.
We right back to the sandbox. We right back to what keeps us. I mean, dude, I've been dealing with this since I've been in, and it's like, hey, I mean, if you guys remember, we pulled out of Afghanistan.
That was
We
big.
pulled out of Iraq. We pulled out of you name it. And now we're right back overnight and pivoted right back. So now we're back to CENTCOM. We're back in the Middle East. We're back to an operational environment that the entire generation of American warriors knows in their bones. We all know about this. We've been landlocked in this area in some sort of capacity, conducting some type of operations, no matter what. It's ebbed and flowed as far as its volume and how dedicated we were, but it was like, okay, yeah, it's coming down. We don't have that many terrorists. We need to focus on China. We need to focus on Russia and, Ukraine and all this other stuff. Now it's right back. The veterans of Iraq and Afghanistan, there's something familiar. They know it's something familiar about this. The terrain is different, but Iran is not Iraq. But the framework, the 24-hour news cycle on the operation, the family stress at home, the alert posture, the are we deploying conversations in the barracks, we've all been there before. That's something that they're going to get used to and they're going to understand. This is what it's about and this is what we're doing. Now, if you agree or disagree, that's not what we're here to talk about. What it's about is how to prepare yourself, airmen, soldiers, sailors, Marines, guardians, and the whole bit to be ready for how you are going to play an integral part in this. We have to be ready. We've been here before. So the guys that did this before, now we can impart that wisdom on them. Hey, this is how we handle business going forward. We can pass that knowledge to them. And that's what I advocate everybody to do at this point who has some tenure on them in the military.
That's the situation. So here's what you need to hold on to before we get to part two. This is what you need to make sure you understand and have that wrapped up in your mind. Epic Fury is active. We are doing the campaign with Iran. It is not a strike. It is not a raid. It's a full-on campaign, right? 50,000 service members are in the fight. More are moving as we speak. The strategic pivot is real. We went from a global power competition posture back to the Middle East pretty quickly. That doesn't mean GPC is not happening, but obviously it's going to be doing multiple things. It's going to have multiple impacts, second, third, and fourth effects. Also understand this is costly. This is costing every day. That will also have consequences and things will be affected at home as well. In part two, we're going to go ahead and break down exactly what that pivot means for your funding, for your training, and what you should actually expect from your chain of command right now. We're going to see you on the next one, but understand that that's the situation as of now.